Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, may I have your attention, please? Are you ready to engage in a mind-blowing experience and hear talks about life, technology, entertainment, and business? The next episode of HIPTHER Talks starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi everyone, Zoltan here from HIPTHER Talks. We're back again this week. Today we have an interesting guest who is joining us from Almost Friday Media, Andrew Kenward, the president and COO of Almost Friday. Hi, Ken.
Hey, how's it going?
All good. So I know that you guys are very, very known in the States, but maybe to our global audience and in Europe, you are not that well advertised yet. But let's start by giving a short introduction about yourself and your company.
Yeah, absolutely. So Almost Friday Media actually originally started around the one Instagram account, friday.beers. It was founded by three brothers, Jack Barrett, Max Barrett, Sam Barrett. And it was really like just this place where they were writing their jokes. They wanted to be screenwriters. So they found a format that sort of worked for Instagram where they could put some of those jokes. And they were like, all right, we're going to write a script every month and we're going to have this little Instagram account that'll just be like a fun thing that we do on the side. I actually saw it in like November 2019. It was like a couple weeks after they had started the account. A friend of mine had sent it to me and I was like, oh, this is hilarious. This like new format of kind of like internet comedy. And I kind of forgot about it, honestly. Like I was an agent at WME at the time. So that was my background. I was working in our digital media group. I was representing everybody from, comedians to producers to TV, directors, different brands and publishers like The Athletic or Attention were clients. I'd work with them to put TV projects together or help them, honestly, just find any type of business, to fuel their company as sort of like a hired gun biz development guy, right? Through the agency. And I came back from like Christmas and New Year's and I got a phone call from one of my colleagues at the agency. And he's like, hey, have you heard of this thing, Friday Beers? These guys are looking for representation. And if anybody at the agency would know about this, like I figured it would be you, because I kind of had this knack for like, dude comedy. So I was like, yeah, I know I've seen it. It was sent to me like, a couple months ago. I think they had like 5,000 followers at the time, so it was like just starting, but even for, being a month old, it's kind of impressive.
Yeah.
And we set up a phone call. I took a look at it. And all of a sudden it's 2 months later and they have 250,000 followers on Instagram, right? This thing just sort of absolutely took off. And I think for a couple of reasons, they created a new format of telling jokes on Instagram using like found footage and cutting together scenes from comedy movies or sports moments and layering in text tracking jokes over that no one had ever really seen before. So I think that was part of it. It was like very unique, like visually, and as like a sort of new medium for telling a story. But I think beyond that, it also just tonally and from a point of view of comedy struck a nerve with the 20-something, 30-something that was just really like starting to find their way through work life and that like post-grad, world. And it was really resonating like with that entire audience and became like very shareable because it felt very relatable. And it was like, oh, these guys like understand what I'm going through in the work week. And the whole concept of Friday Beers was like, we're all sort of just waiting for that moment on Friday where you can have a beer and not feel like the man is like lording over you, So so we got to talking and I said to them, I go, guys, like if you Jack, Max, Sam, if you guys want to be like writers and like writers only and like write for TV and film, like I'm probably not the right agent for you. You know, like I'm more of, like I said, like this business development guy. Like, how do we turn this into a business? And to their credit, they came back to me 2 weeks later with this incredible pitch deck that was like really well thought out. It was like kind of the foundation for what the company has now become. So we were thinking like, okay, like we can make podcasts with this. Like we could actually still try and go and make, you know, TV shows as well, and take some of this like IP and essence of comedy and come up with television ideas. And we could launch a network of other accounts, right? And we, you know, have a merchandise business. We have a really, you know, growing like brand business. We work with a lot of like big blue chip brands, and that it was sort of like the early genesis of what is now Almost Friday Media. And yeah, we operate, you know, probably 15 different Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, podcasts, accounts, pages, and projects. We've worked with, you know, huge brands. We started working mainly with beer brands. So it was like the Anheuser-Busch's of the world, the New Belgians of the world, obviously wanted to come to us because the biggest account on our network is Friday Beers. But since then, like we've worked with everybody from Grubhub to Dave & Buster's to Dunkin' Donuts, and you know, it's growing by the second, and it's been really exciting. Like all the like kind of now at least like industry recognition that we've got, and sort of being able to make, you know, humor injected into what these brands are wanting to put out online. And yeah, so that's really kind of the genesis of it all, and like where we're at today. I mean, our biggest accounts are Friday Beers. Almost Friday is sort of the umbrella brand that we've now created that houses the rest of the brands. But almost.friday on Instagram, check that out, or almost
already did.
Yeah, we have some really great content on there too. I can kind of like talk more about it as well, but yeah, that's where we're at now. And it's been you know, it hasn't been that long. Like the Instagram account started in November 2019, right? So we're approaching like 3 years from sort of like the true genesis of it all. But it's really, you know, more like 2 years since it's been like this like formed idea of a business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you need an umbrella brand when you have so many activities going on. It's like we have here with the HIPTHERs. We have multiple websites, multiple conferences. We're in North America and in Latin America with Gaming Americas. We are with the European gaming in Europe. So basically we needed an umbrella brand. That's how we created HIPTHER. So yeah, it's a similar idea about this umbrella.
Yeah, we had the same thought, right? We were like, okay, like Friday Beers is the biggest brand, right, within this umbrella, but it felt like too siloed of a name to really encompass like what we were trying to do with you know, the bigger media company. And now we have, you know, it's not only brands that we create originally, we have plenty that we've partnered with, and work with some like hilarious creators, and we really sort of function as now like the back end services, where what's great is through like the Trojan horse of Friday Beers, we're talking to these big blue chip brands, and we're like, hey, if you're going to be spending with us, like you might as well spend with Liquidity or Billy and Chet, or other creators that we've been working with, or this kid Will Dinellen, who we just brought on, has been so funny and has a growing TikTok account. Liquidity, if I mentioned that already, he's you know, like fintech finance bro, humor and memes out of New York, and he's done an incredible job like finding those niche audiences, right? Like the same way, like you can't always get everyone under one like mega roof. So the way in is like finding those like niche communities, but talking to them in like a similar sort of like tone and point of view and comedy line. Yeah.
All right. So that's about Almost Friday Media, but we haven't heard about you.
Yeah.
So give us your background.
Yeah, for sure. So I have worked in the entertainment business for a long time. Like ever since I was in college, just started at first, like I was a PA on some terrible movie outside of Austin. I went to University of Texas in Austin, and I then started booking concerts, and created a small little business with some friends in Texas. And we were booking shows. Like this is in 2008, 2009, like right when electronic music was becoming popular in America. And we booked some shows and was kind of like, oh my God, like you can make money doing this. Like this, like kind of blew my mind. Like this is so much fun. And luckily found my way to this internship at this company, C3 Presents, which they're a big concert promoter. They put together and produce all the Lollapalooza events.
Oh, okay.
So globally, they produce all of those. They do Austin City Limits. They had like a talent management arm, so they were representing like really cool artists. And then they booked for like all these different casinos and other venues around the world. Like they sort of acted as like their talent buying arm. So that way, you know, you didn't have to have like a random buyer in some casino in, you know, middle of nowhere, Arizona or something, having to know like what the cool music was right now, you know? So I worked for that company, learned a ton. I started to understand like, oh, like there's like a real path to a career in the entertainment business here. And everyone was like, you got to go start at a talent agency. You got to go start at a talent agency. This was like right around the time where like, you know, we had like the big recession, like jobs were kind of hard to find.
Oh.
I just told myself like, I'm going to go, you know what, like I'm going to go to law school with the intent of wanting to like go be an agent afterwards. And there was like a decent amount of like, I did some research, and it's like a decent amount of agents like have their law degree, you're negotiating contracts, you're talking to lawyers all day. So like, I was like, that feels like helpful. And at this time where it may be really, really hard for me to go like find a job, like I'll just, you know, invest in my education a little bit, go do that. So went back to Florida. I'm from Miami originally, and went to law school at University of Florida in Gainesville, which was super fun. I mean, like, you know, I basically got to go to college like 2 times in a row, you know, like I did Texas and then Florida, but continued to work in the entertainment business. I don't know if you remember this company, Groove Shark. Do you remember these guys?
No.
Groove Shark was like an early competitor to Spotify. So this is in like 2011.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now I remember.
All web-based.
Yeah.
They were a startup founded by a couple kids that were at UF. They had an office in downtown Gainesville. That's when I started working. I was working for their COO at the time in operations. And I was in law school at the time, and I was sort of like, first experience of like, oh, startup life, and you know how like a young company like comes together. And then I mean, I worked there for a couple of years, and after I left, I got an internship at WME after my first year of law school, and sort of was able to make my way there pretty quickly after I graduated. But Groove Shark eventually imploded. They didn't have like the correct licensing with all the record labels, and that kind of eventually was their demise. But I found my way to WME. So I went from law school to the mailroom, and I worked my way out of the mailroom pretty quickly. I got my first job as an assistant working for this guy, David Levine, in the music department. He repped everybody from like Carly Rae Jepsen to like the Goo Goo Dolls. And like, I was helping, you know, put together their tours with him. And I sort of quickly realized like, you know, there's so much at this agency. Like they rep everybody from like TV writers to, you know, directors to actors to musicians to literally, they did everything for everyone. I was like, I kind of want to see like what else is out there. And I ended up moving within the agency to the TV department. I worked for a handful of different TV agents, really learned how to like package television projects. So you'd take like the producer and the director and like a big talent and kind of get them all together to take out a project and pitch it. And that was like an incredible experience on learning how to sort of like put together and assemble like entertainment projects. And then from there, I got the opportunity to go work for, at the time, it was the co-CEO, this guy, Patrick Weitzel, and he's now the chairman of Endeavor, but incredible guy. And I was his sort of like chief of staff for about a year and a half. And that was the opportunity. I really got to zoom out and sort of look at the entire agency and say, oh, wow, like this is a huge business, huge business. Endeavor, like WME was like, this little like similar, to what we were just talking about, having these like umbrella style organizations, like, and WME was also a huge business, but it was one business of this massive company that they just had bought the UFC. They had merged with IMG a few years earlier. They were in the middle of a massive, M&A deal with this company, Learfield. And it really opened up my eyes to like, oh, like what was growing? Where was like the agency growing? Where's the company growing? And when it was like sort of like my turn to get promoted, I really pushed to get promoted into the digital media group as an agent, because I was like, there's so much growth here from like an agency level, but also just from a global level. Like this is where talent are sort of becoming famous now, and this is like, it's like the new television is TikTok,
Exactly.
And I don't know, one of like the luckiest decisions I think that I like decided to make, like, because it's like helped create this entire career path that I have now that I'm incredibly grateful for. And also it's just given me so much like flexibility and allowed me to be really entrepreneurial. It's a relative to like the more legacy parts of the media business that, you got to like really grind through certain ruts to like get stuff done. It's a bit more flexibility and freedom, which has been awesome.
All right. So with this occasion, I would like to give a shout out to Lloyd Danzig for the introduction with Andrew. Thank you so much. And let's dive into it. I really like this thing that you are very excited about Almost Friday Media, and it shows, because first you started introducing the company rather than focusing on yourself. So that gives a certain perspective on this show. So you began representing Friday Beers when you were at VME, and then joined them last year. So is this a new challenge for you?
Yeah, it is. It's what's been great about it is I feel like through my time at WME and kind of like my entire like journey of my career, I picked up like all these different like skill sets, right? And I think what's been so rewarding and exciting about this job is now like really being able to like deploy those in a different way. I've had this incredible access to like work with some of like the world's like biggest talent through WME, and you kind of like learn how to just like swallow any like nervousness about like who you're talking to, or like and just go and try and get the deal done or get the project made and go a pitch in front of rooms at Netflix and Hulu and HBO. And at first you're walking in a little shaky, and now like that stuff like doesn't really like phase you anymore. But I think what has been the most like two things have been like really like fun and sort of a new challenge for me is we went out and started raising money when I came in end of last summer. So I've been in-house at the company for like a little over the year, and I think like week one, Jack Barrett, our CEO, and I like started really having fundraising phone calls, and that was like an incredibly new experience for me. I never like gone through like a fundraise process, and we luckily had like a really great time with it, and met some of the most like interesting people, and kept getting connected to like really great people that had certain expertise and things that we were excited about exploring. And, that's how I ended up meeting Lloyd originally as well. So that was a new challenge and new process for me, but incredibly rewarding one. And then I'd say the other part was like, when I was an agent, it was just me and my assistant, and it was like, every day us like locked in, like taking all the calls and having all the meetings, putting everything together, the two of us, and sure, there was a department and of people, but it wasn't the same as now, where our company has grown from last summer 11 people to like the beginning of this year like 15 people. Now it's like 25 people, that we're managing, and that was also a very new thing for me, but also incredibly like rewarding thing, right? And like it's been really fun to step back and like watch somebody like, who's our head of branded content have like incredible success just like running that lane now, so it's been certainly challenging. There's moments like it's hard to like let go of stuff that you were doing previously, now we're also responsible to a lot of investors and like stakeholders in the business that like aren't just like five dudes in a room in Venice anymore, but I think that is I would have probably never had that opportunity to have those exact experiences at the agency, and incredibly grateful for like, kind of taking the leap to join the company to be able to, earn some new stripes and learn how to do some new stuff.
All right. So you know that there's a website out there since I think the early 2000s. Isitfriday.com?
I do remember this. Yeah. Is it just no?
Yeah, no, and yes.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing I thought when I was writing up the question, and I found the slogan that it's the slogan of Almost Friday Media. If it's not Friday, it's almost Friday. I really like that, and I think that these guys are really nuts over there, and hopefully they will not get filtered by the investors, as probably when money comes pouring in, there are certain demands of staying away from certain topics, but hopefully they will not do that. And I don't think that was the main idea when the Almost Friday was launched.
No. Yeah. Well, there's another funny Instagram handle that I've seen recently, and it's like welcome to the weekend or something like that. But who's the oh my God, it's the guy that plays James Bond.
All right, I don't know. Not such a big fan of James Bond either way.
Yeah. Oh, it's Daniel Craig. And
Daniel Craig. Yeah.
And it's a clip of him from Saturday Night Live, and it's just every Friday, it's someone posted on Instagram and goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend," because he was introducing the weekend at SNL. So they just take that clip and put it online every Friday.
So already knowing Almost Friday.media, I directly think that that's a copycat trying to be to get on the train, on the hype. So what's it like working with Jack, Max, and the team there?
Yeah, those guys they're brilliant dudes. So first of all, they're all brothers, right? Jack, Max, Sam are all brothers. Incredibly smart guys, incredibly creative guys. It's actually really fun, like watching like a brother dynamic happen, like in the workspace. But like, they're incredibly like thoughtful, and there's not like, you're a little nervous, like, is there going to be this like brother like bickering, and like someone going to be giving someone like a noogie in the bathroom or something like that, right? Like they really are, now I think they understand like, oh, what this has become and the opportunity, and they really treat it like a business. And their skill set for like coming into Almost Friday Media and into building the brand and the company were sort of like perfectly tailored for what we actually do and how we make money in the business. So Max was a copywriter for one of the, like, you know, he worked at a couple different big, you know, agencies, creative agencies. He worked at, he came up at Creative Circus, which is the school like specifically about creative writing in Atlanta, I believe. And then Jack makes, you know, he always calls himself like the worst, like the best worst, like finance analyst, and worked in finance. Like, I think that's sort of where he started writing these like core jokes that we tell on Friday Beers, because it was like that, you know, as much as it's an amazing career path, you could have a lot of success. It was also, I think, for him, incredibly soul sucking. And, you know, he wanted to do something that was more creative and something he was more passionate about. But he left that and went into Radical Media, which was his first, you know, foray in like the entertainment business. And he was pitching brands, television projects, experiential projects, all stuff that like we are doing now, right? Like we are just closed another a big deal with a beer brand for all football season, and we're gonna be creating content for them. But like all of that stuff was like part of our pitch deck. Like we're throwing tailgate events with them, right? Like we're creating digital content. They're gonna be part of our podcast. We're gonna be making customized merchandise that's like co-branded and doing giveaways, you know? So like this Jack's ability to like vision like what a campaign can be and articulate it in a pitch deck, like was, you know, like is exactly what he was doing before, you know, he was doing it for himself. And Max's ability to go create the content and make the funny videos and like write the jokes alongside like the rest of our team, our creatives, is like perfectly aligned for us to, you know, see these like projects into the world and the brands that we work with. So it's great. I think like we make an incredible team. Like we all sort of have this background that has allowed us to like really like fit in and hopefully continue to steer the company in a way that we can keep growing. And, you know, Sam, their youngest brother, he's become like our like meme. We call him like the meme czar or the meme lord, you know, like the guy knows literally every inch of the internet, you know, like he's incredible at making like these viral jokes that work, you know, well, just like for our own growth and like original content, but also when we do it in context of brands, he's just like so dialed on the internet. So yeah, it's been incredibly fun working with them. And yeah, I'm just excited to see where it keeps, how we keep growing.
I think it's like working with Jerry Seinfeld and George Costanza. It's a show about nothing.
It feels like that actually. Sometimes like we're like, what are we doing today? Like, this is insane.
So it's an idea. Its idea is to create a world of comedy that makes self-deprecating, laugh out loud party humor cool again. I love that. I read that somewhere in in a description about Almost Friday Media. And finally, all this appealing political fairness is gone.
Yeah.
So we're back to the good old days. I'm 37. I remember those days. So I instantly started following you guys. So is it appealing to millennials, or you only reach or the Gen Zs?
Yeah. So, you know, what's interesting is like that tone of voice and that like core ethos of not like wanting to like get views or likes for just being like politically divisive or stirring the pot, right? Like we're trying to be like confrontational, right? Like the internet can be a very dark place.
It is.
And like the comments section can be like just like filled with like vitriol, and it's like, you know, like we get enough of that everywhere else, right? Like we want to be that place that's like, hey, like we're all in this together. You know, Friday beers, like, sort of mentioning earlier, is like, is more of a metaphor than it is like an actual thing. Like,
Yeah.
and it is an actual thing for a lot of us. Like a lot of us, the way that we, like start to enjoy the weekend is that beer on a Friday. But I was like, for a lot of people, it's like, hey, they like playing golf on Saturday mornings, right? It's like that first like tea time they get, like, and they're like feeling like, oh, like it's finally like the weekend,
or planning your long run day.
Exactly. So it's anything like that. But yeah, I think like, it's what helped us grow, and it also what makes it like just easier for us to like continue to put out funny comedy without having to feel like, oh, like we're keeping up on that like immediate trend of like what's breaking in the news, and we're not going to be like TMZ, or anything like that, where we feel like we gotta like stir the pot on like whatever like Kim Kardashian is doing and with Pete Davidson this week, right? And I think that's what helped us grow, and what got like our loyal fandom and community built, was like, hey, like there's so much of that everywhere else on the internet. Like this is a place I can almost come to escape like the rest of the noise.
All right. So what are the main brands that stand out in the Almost Friday family of brands?
So Friday Beers is the kind of like the main hub, right? If for any of the listeners, like definitely go check it out. That's the place to start, right? Like you'll see now, on that page, ton of different content. It originally started with these like text tracking videos that I mentioned earlier, but now has blossomed into like all sorts of different like mediums of comedy that sort of still fit in that tone of voice, right? Of like kind of like we're in this together comedy storytelling. Like we have sketches. We've partnered with a handful of amazing creators. This guy Will Angus and Liam Cullough were like the two first guys that we hired to do sketch comedy with us. They are hilarious. They also have their own following on like TikTok. You can check out their handles, but they've been doing sketch comedy for us that exists on Friday Beers, and then on another two channels for us on TikTok and Instagram called almostfriday.tv. Okay. So that's where like you go to those pages for basically exclusively sketch comedy. They're amazing. And now the room has expanded a little bit. We brought on two other guys, Billy and Chet. They have their own TikTok page that's, close to 1 million followers now. They do amazing sketch comedy, but they also will appear on the stuff that's on Almost Friday TV and Friday Beers. Another guy that we recently started working with in the last year is Rusty Featherstone. I don't know if you've seen him, but dude, Zoltan, you're gonna love him. He goes and drinks. He drinks 12 beers, and he reviews beers, but he gives you an update: 4 beers, 8 beers, and 12 beers in. He's electric. He's people absolutely love him. He's incredibly funny, and we've been doing a lot more content with him. He's appeared on the Friday Beers channel a few times over the last couple of months as well. Almost Out Friday is kind of what we call this like moods account, where we're highlighting these like classic images of celebrities or people, just what I like to call being unabashedly swaggy. So they're sort of just out there like doing their thing. And we did the little simple like trademark insert of Almost Friday over it. And these things go crazy viral. Like people love sharing them because it really just like immediately speaks to like, oh, this person is just like being themselves, like, and so proud of it, and it's like a little like mini moment of inspiration, like, when you get one. So that's like kind of like arguably, it's one of our channel has like close to like 200,000 followers. It's pretty big. It's not massive, but like culturally, it's the thing that gets shared the most every week. And it's growing really, really fast. Another account that I want to plug for your audience is Entrepreneur. So it's a satirical page on like what I'm sure you've seen on your feed elsewhere, like either on TikTok or Instagram, like all this like hustle culture, like
Oh yeah.
if you're not if you're not only sleeping 3 hours a day, like you're poor,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
like 2021 was a great year for influencer. They finally managed to pay their rent.
yeah, exactly. Like it's super hard. It's like there's this crazy world out there of like productivity, like you're not doing enough. You're like, like it's wild. So this account really like satirizes that and has a crazy loyal following. People absolutely love it. And it's also just like really, really funny. So I recommend checking that one out as well.
I
But
will definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, in terms of the beer reviews, I remember in 2007, me and two of my high school colleagues went for 2 weeks to Prague to taste all the beers. This back then there weren't any TikTok or any type of platforms available, but we must have been doing something really cool then. So all right,
Dude,
so
I've tasted some beers in Prague too, and that's the capital. I'm ready to go back.
we tasted about 68 or something like that, as far as I remember. So it was pretty wild.
That's amazing.
So yeah, you have all these platforms and brands which do need big sponsorships, need some backing, and for that, you guys have a big announcement about one of the latest partnerships, which you can brag about, of course. So let's hear it.
For sure. So, we've worked with a ton of different brands. We've worked with like a lot of beer companies, food delivery service, like all the stuff that 25-year-old dudes are into. And yeah, we're super excited because we're announcing a partnership with BetMGM. So, in the States, like it's been wild seeing online gaming, like kind of like turn on state by state. I've traveled a little bit in like Colorado or New Jersey. Like I'll go visit my sister and I'll pull out BetMGM and like from her couch or throw in a little bit of money on like the F1 race or whatever basketball game is happening. And it's pretty incredible to like see it sweep the nation. Right. But what I think we're super excited about working with them, one is like, it's just an incredible product. Like the BetMGM app itself, like in brand is, it's one of the most like well-known brands in casino gaming in the world.
Yep.
And it's just incredibly functional. Like I've used a few other ones and it was either like impossible to sign up or like just, figuring out how to like put in a slip was like kind of challenging.
Yeah.
And I think because gaming is so new in this way to most of Americans, like there's huge opportunity. And we're not like, the Action Network or we're not like ESPN. Like we are not trying to be like Sharps or the guys you come to like figure out like, oh, like which, where's like the arbitrage this week on the line. Like we're more like, yo, like we're boys with Kenny Pickett and we're taking the Steelers, every game this fall. Like, do you want to ride with us? Because that's it. That's the only reason why. Right. And trying to create like community and simplify what I think can be like a little intimidating of an experience for people. Because I remember the first time like I walked up to a sports book in Vegas, you feel like, you're like, am I like an idiot? Like, this is like, I feel like I have like solving like an calculus problem, like trying to like fill this thing out,
Yeah, exactly.
So what we're excited about is like, how do we like simplify, make it easier, make it more approachable for people? Because we have so many sports fans that follow us. Our page, Dr. Locks, that's another one of the page I wanted to plug is, a home for like sort of like the sports gambling fan. So there are people in our community that like already really understand and know the world. And I think like it'll take less explaining and just excited to, kind of like have the community to like ride alongside with now. And we're going to be able to do some really cool stuff. Like we'll have Friday beers branded like parlays and special bets like
oh,
in
nice.
the app. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So that's going to be really cool. We're going to be able to create content that points to that stuff. Yeah, we're like, just about to get this kicked off for football season. So we're
Yeah,
incredibly excited about it.
football season's about to start. Yeah, and that's
Well,
what I wanted to ask you about. What does the main bullet points of the partnership consist of?
so yeah, we're going to be creating content with them kind of on like a pretty regular basis. We're going to have the opportunity to create this like in-app uh, like special like bets and like one click parlays, right? Where you don't have to like really fumble around and like put a ticket together. We're gonna be working with them over the course of the next year, which we're really pumped about. So it'll be throughout football season, into NBA and hockey, like through playoffs. And obviously, we have like little niche fan bases. We have an entire like golf community that is a big like Friday beers and almost Friday media audience. So we're going to like really just try and like target and highlight those like big sporting events, make them feel as big as they deserve to be, right? Like we love getting hyped up around like the big moments in sports. And now like with this partnership, we're excited that like we could really talk to our audience about like putting a little like skin on the game and getting that little tingle in your stomach, like when you're ready to like watch like 4 days of golf on a weekend. But yeah, we're going to be making content across like the Friday Beers page, the Dr. Locks page, and then really like hopefully drive like new users and to the app, especially as like they continue to come online in new states over the next like year plus.
It's going to be crazy. It is crazy since 2019, and we've been covering the content with Gaming America since 2020. And I know it's actually, I want to remind our audience that Gaming America's Q3 meetup is coming up. The virtual meetup is coming up this week. So make sure to check out our website for the agenda.
Awesome.
All right. So as you guys entered the new gaming industry, which is very hyped, just want to ask you what's next for you guys in 2022, besides this partnership, of course. And are there any expansion plans for 2023?
Yeah, I mean, like we are like focused always in like growing our media business and our media footprint. And we want to find other, creators and partners that can sort of unlock new audience for us. So that's a big thing. I think the key to growing is what we don't want to lose sight of is like what we talked about earlier, as far as like the tone of voice and the style of comedy. Like we're not gonna, try and tack on or work with another creator that I think participates in that other side of the internet that we're trying to like stay out of. Like we just don't want to, I think it would compromise like why brands want to work with us. So we're still gonna be very like judicious, I think, about who we partner with and why, from a media standpoint. But what I'm hoping is that we'll continue to unlock like a bigger relationship with like our partners at BetMGM, right? And if we're able to go, hey, like now all of a sudden we're working with these other 5 accounts that have, huge audience, different audience than the one at Friday Beers, but we can sort of now all create content together to make this a bigger deal and elevate this, this partnership. Like that's, I think, a really exciting opportunity. And it all starts from, like, how do we go and find more, more eyeballs and more fans and more community, that like, really like fits in nicely with our brand. I don't think we're going to ever be this company that's like so broadly internet reaching, like the old MCNs that, if you remember those, like that sort of, they just are like, we're going to work like with everyone and we're a scale business, which I think like is a certain approach. Like we're more like, no, we're going to be a little more niche. And we're going to sell like comedy first to the partnerships. And I think that's what these companies are so excited about, in working with us, is like, a lot of most of the branded content we put out gets the same sort of engagement and likes and response that like original content posts we put out gets. So
yeah, you definitely have eyeballs from Europe as well. So don't.
Let's go. Love that.
All right. So, any parting words?
I mean, I want to thank you. I want to thank Lloyd for connecting us. But yeah, I think just keep an eye out for Friday Beers, Almost Friday Media. We're gonna be, creating a ton of content this football season. Yeah, go sign up for BetMGM, promo code beers. Yeah, well, keep an eye out for us, and don't be afraid to send us a DM or say what's up in the comment section either.
All right. So thank you so much. Thank you guys for tuning in, and see you next, and hope you hear us next week as well. All right.
Let's go.
Take good care.
Have a good one.
Joining. Be sure to check back next week for the next HIPTHER Talks and subscribe on Amazon Music, Overcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Mixcloud, and Pandora.